meeting, and I appreciate everyone joining us and being with us today. We have, I think, what will be a really good program, and looking forward to having all of you here with us. The invocation today will be by David Ludwig. And David, if you can, we'd appreciate it if you go ahead and start us off.
Okay, let's pray. Dear Lord, in a culture that seems to value individual rights above family and community relationships, help us live out our Rotary motto of service above self, so that in our professional and personal lives, we can continually build goodwill and better friendship as we make sure everything we do and say is beneficial to all concerned. Amen.
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 Amen. David, appreciate that. And David, can you bring up the flag, please? Thank you. And if each of you will, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, on announcements, you will be receiving shortly an announcement by Jim Bitton concerning Toys for Tots, which we have been supporting for many, many years now. Of course, we won't be able to have our face-to-face meetings for people to make a contribution. So Jim has asked that you would send a check directly to the police department, and the address will be in the email. He would also ask that you note on the memo line, Rotary Club of Lake Hickory, so that our club will get credit for all of the contributions that might be made. We've already talked just briefly about the bell ringing for the 28th and the 5th, and it looks like the 5th is now pretty well full, and we have about 4 or 5 open slots for the 28th. So if any of you haven't signed up yet, if you could fill in those slots from 4 to 8, it would be very much appreciated. Now, we need to hear from Ernie Sills concerning Polio Plus. Ernie?
All right. I talked to Lee Young this morning. He did the reach out and grab you by the arm, you know, when you come in the meeting, to get me to sign up for the bell ringing, which I did. And as far as our Polio Plus goes, I'm not sitting up there to reach out and grab you by the arm, but I will say that it's picked up a little bit, finally, in that we now have $280. Unfortunately, that's only from 5 club members. So we really need to get everybody involved in some way or another. Whatever you can do. I know, $40 is 2 raffle tickets normally, but come on, guys, you can hit the hip. I hope you enjoyed the program last week. It would be a good full program, and we had to kind of squeeze it in to keep this moving. But just asking you one more time, and I'll get Dave to send out another little reminder if he would. Just send your checks to me at my office, and it's on that little reminder. About all I can say, I guess. We said we would run this through December the 1st, but let's not wait till the last minute. So with that said, thanks a bunch, and I'm looking forward to having to get a mailbag to haul the checks in.
Checks in the mail. Guys, I think we need to step up and help Ernie.
Yeah, no question about it. And it's right. I mean, he's done very well over the years by being able to strong arm people and doing raffles and working hard at it. So we do need to continue supporting him. So anyone who can make a contribution, I can tell you for sure that we'll all appreciate it, and it'll be for the good of Polio Plus. Our program today will be by Tom Kenney. He is the Land Protection Director of the Foothills Conservancy. of North Carolina, and he will be presented to us by fellow Rotarian Bill Kopp. Bill, it's on for you.
Lou, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. I'm one of those less than tech savvy guys. I can't get my camera on, so I'll be hopefully be able to introduce Tom. It's a real pleasure to introduce Tom. I've known Tom for a long time. When I worked with Foothills Conservancy of North Carolina out in Morganton. Tom is the land protection director for them and has been for almost 21 years. The Foothills Conservancy is a land trust, and over its existence, it has preserved over 61,000 acres, which is a lot of land. And of that 61,000 acres, 52,000 of that has been put to public use. And in this era of COVID, one statistic that you may or may not know, that when we had a reduction in the cases back in September, the parks, and particularly the national parks, had a record number of visitors. So it's a way of people dealing with the COVID, is being able to get out and enjoy the outdoors. And what's happened is Foothills has made this possible. They've got several new projects, which Tom's going to elaborate on, but just a few words about Tom. He's a Raleigh native, went to NC State and graduated with a degree in chemistry. And later on, he attended school in Minnesota and got a natural resource analysis and geographic information systems specialty. And he's, like I said, does a lot of work with them. First of all, analyzing the lands that they are going to acquire, and also negotiating the deals in order to obtain the land. He also is a member of the South Mountain State Park Advisory Committee and also the Catawba River Wildlife Coalition. He enjoys canoeing and hiking and just basically being outside in the South Mountains and the Pisgah National Forest. He also enjoys gardening and loves to travel. So we can re-welcome Tom. He had given us a presentation in person back about 7 or 8 years ago. So Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am glad to be here with you today, and I look forward to sharing with you some highlights on some of our recent conservation projects at Foothills Conservancy. And we're very proud and pleased that we're now completing some projects in Catawba County that we hope provide citizens and visitors to the region more opportunities for outdoor recreation. So I put together a little presentation here, and if Dave can set up or start the share screen, I'll be glad to go through that with you this afternoon.
You can go ahead and share your screen now, Tom. You're
okay, got it. Okay. Let me make sure. Gonna pull up the right one. Here we go. And I'll go back. Okay, can everybody see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll just skip into the presentation now. As Bill mentioned, we are a land trust, and we've been around for about 25 years now, I believe. Actually, next month is our anniversary. And we are your local and regional land trust here in Western North Carolina. We serve 8 counties, including Catawba County, where Hickory is located. And we work with partners and landowners to do a variety of conservation projects in the region here, including the Western Piedmont and Foothills. So we're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish today. And I do want to let you know that all of these projects, all of the 61,000 plus acres that we protected today wouldn't have been possible without the landowners and the variety of partners that we work with on a regular basis. That would include local officials, those that work for our local governments, parks and recreations departments, and our state natural resource agencies like the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, North Carolina State Parks, and we are even working with some of our federal land agency partners, including the U.S. Forest Service, where Pisgah National Forest occurs in our region. So actually, this is a snapshot from our newsletter that will be going out very soon to our members and supporters. And it just shows you that the region of Western North Carolina we serve, and in very small unhighlighted dots are the locations of our projects that we've been able to complete over the years. And highlighted in the larger red circles are this year's projects. We're very fortunate to have strong support from private donors, local and regional foundations, and some existing conservation funding programs that makes our projects possible. And so even in these times of COVID, we've been able to accomplish a good number of projects this year. So all our projects look different, but certainly there's some unifying factors. We are active in farmland preservation in our region. These types of projects in particular involve lands that will remain privately owned and farmed by individuals and families in our region. It's made possible through a tool known as the conservation easement. And those can also be used by private landowners to protect natural habitats and natural areas on their properties. We also do, as Bill mentioned, a lot of projects that end up providing public access and benefits, outdoor recreation, hiking, biking, camping, you name it. We don't necessarily manage all of these lands, the 61,000 acres, and that's where our partners come in that have existing staff and resources and programs to maintain and operate public conservation areas for people to enjoy and visit. So I always like to emphasize the difference that our conservation projects make. And really that's what our mission and vision are about. Voluntary conservation of important natural resources with the landowners and partners in our region. So our project's very important. We're helping to protect clean air, clean water. We're providing residents and visitors to our region outdoor recreation opportunities. We're helping to preserve scenic open space. One of the most important things we do with our partners is try to protect existing undeveloped areas to protect our drinking water supplies, whether it's Lake Hickory and the public water supplies that tap that reservoir, or Lake James, and the Catawba River, of course, is very important all along its route north and South Carolina to provide clean drinking water. In our rural area, a lot of our benefits are providing places for people to hunt, fish, and bird watch, and just do all those things that people like to do outdoors. And these projects and the results are really making a difference in our region. Increasingly, particularly in our more rural counties, tourism and visitation based on trails and outdoor parks and places to enjoy are making a difference. And I think you'll find that all our local tourism development authorities are working to promote their outstanding natural features that make their areas attractive for outdoor recreation. And hopefully a lot of those visitors are spending money in our local economies at our restaurants and our hotels, and new companies also choosing our region to locate as a result. I know I don't think about this every day, even as a conservationist in my job, but when you look at all of the benefits economically that are tied to land and water conservation, it's really substantial. You know, fish and wildlife, this is really amazing. The number of people across our country and throughout North Carolina that get outdoors on a regular basis, whether it's to hunt, fish, or do those other types of recreation opportunities. And there's been some studies that really quantify this in terms of benefits to local economies. So we definitely feel that our projects are providing strong economic benefits and value to our communities in the foothills and western Piedmont here. So now let me get on to some projects, and I'm going to show you a series of maps that really illustrate some of our projects that we've been able to complete in Catawba County the past several years. So Foothills Conservancy is one of several organizations that have been trying to add to the number of parks in Catawba County and really take advantage of good opportunities for outdoor recreation along the Henry Fork and Jacob Fork rivers. I love to get outdoors myself, and I love to canoe. I also like to do, enjoy boating on our lakes and reservoirs too. But these two rivers and Baker's Mountain are really in an area of the county that is really ripe for outdoor recreation and conservation projects. And that's where we've been focusing our efforts over the past several years. And as a result of these efforts, and with some strong support from local elected officials in Catawba County, Senator Andy Wells, Representative Jay Adams, and Representative Mitchell Setzer, the North Carolina General Assembly last year actually created a brand new state trail that has its beginning in the Catawba County Hickory area. It's part of a long-distance trail that would connect Hickory and Catawba County all the way to Chimney Rock State Park and Lake Lure in the mountains of North Carolina. So what you see here in the variety of purple dotted lines and more solid purple lines are segments that North Carolina State Parks has planned for this trail to be located in the future. Of course, it will be entirely based upon the willing cooperation of interested landowners. And so there are tools such as, the acquisition of land or public trail easements that can help accomplish this. So the Wilderness Gateway State Trail is the mechanism that allows greater investment by North Carolina State Parks in Catawba County for projects. And you'll see several examples of those. I just wanted to highlight, zoom in a little bit more on the Hickory area in western Catawba County. And if you can see the cursor on my presentation here, There's a variety of local parks that already occur along the Henry Fork River. I believe the city of Hickory's soccer park on the river. And then down at the confluence of the Henry and Jacob Fork rivers is the city of Newton's Jacob Fork Park. And then Catawba County has a park at Baker's Mountain. So we're going to build on these assets and destinations and hopefully provide more locations along these rivers and in this area of the county for park benefits. I really can't say enough good things about the Jacob Fork River in Catawba County. I've paddled down this river many a time, and it's just incredible the beauty and the conditions you see along it. It's as good as some of our rivers further west in the mountains, and it's right here in Catawba County. Shown in this this shaded purple color is our first acquisition of property in Catawba County along the Jacob Fork River. This is near Highway 127, the Mountain View section of Catawba County. And we have already transferred this property to North Carolina State Parks for development, for trails and public river access. That will probably take a good number of years to get planned and in place, but we're excited that North Carolina State Parks is working with us on these park projects. Also last year, Foothills Conservancy was able to raise funds to secure a property at Finger Bridge on the, this is downstream of the property I just showed you before, but we really think this property will be ideal for public paddling access, a place where people can put their canoes or kayaks in, take them out, and spend half a day or a day floating down the river, and it's a great thing to do. I don't want to leave out the Henry Fork River, but actually last week we actually closed on the transfer of property to North Carolina State Parks, very close to Hickory here. This is off US Highway 321 and River Road. The city of Hickory actually donated and transferred property to North Carolina State Park, shown in the orange color, and Foothills Conservancy was able to raise funds to buy that purple property. So together these lands are now owned and will be managed for public outdoor recreation by North Carolina State Parks. And I've just got a few more slides here to wrap up my presentation today, but Foothills Conservancy, we also work with our partners to do conservation planning, and it really helps set our priorities and helps us decide where to focus our efforts. We are a private nonprofit organization. We're fortunate to have a staff of 7, but we find that doing conservation planning and setting priorities helps us be successful. And so last year we actually worked with the Western Piedmont Council of Governments to produce a conservation plan for the Henry Fork and Jacob Fork River watersheds in Burke and Catawba County. And as the previous slides indicated, we're already having some good success at acquiring properties that will permanently conserve the natural resources on those properties. We always do this with willing landowners, and I guess that the two, we acquire property outright by gift or purchase, or we complete projects that involve these private conservation easements. So those are the tools that we use to accomplish our conservation work. And I wanted to wrap up this afternoon by returning to the Catawba River. and there's and just really emphasize how important land and water conservation is to our region and our water supplies. We have participated with Duke Energy and the local governments of our region and natural resource agencies to particularly study and assess the Catawba River Basin. It's very important. Charlotte and I believe now we're over 2 million people that rely on the Catawba River for drinking water, and it supports a whole host of economic development and opportunities also. But some of the things that this group of interested stakeholders has done is we've had studies done. Mostly Duke Energy has funded these studies as part of their management of all the reservoirs and the hydroelectric operations along the river. But North Carolina is growing. It's growing significantly. You have probably all noticed that and know this already, but we are thinking ahead and trying to figure out how we can maintain the quality of life and the natural opportunities that we all like to have, while at the same time accommodating additional development and economic benefits for our region. We have seen a dramatic increase in the amount of lands being developed. And I would say that probably you know, this is certainly the Charlotte metropolitan region and areas near Hickory and Catawba County. But I think particularly we've had a lot of loss of farmland, and these statistics show that. A lot of lands have been converted to other uses that certainly benefit our region too. We're seeing some decline in the amount of forested areas that are more natural habitats for our fish and wildlife in the region. So all the conservation projects and all the planning we do are really strive to help ensure that we have an adequate balance and a good mix of natural resources amidst our communities in the region. And I just wanted to mention that some of the funding sources that make these projects possible for Foothills Conservancy and our partners. North Carolina, we are very fortunate to have a dedicated conservation trust fund. It's known as the North Carolina Land and Water Fund. Each year, Foothills Conservancy and local governments, other nonprofits across the state can apply for funding to do conservation projects, acquire land for trails and parks and wildlife conservation areas. There's also some farmland preservation programs that we make use of. We have a landmark nation, our nation has the Federal Land and Water Conservation Fund, which actually this year was authorized to provide up to $900 million each year for all of our country. So these are funds that help support acquisitions and projects by the U.S. Forest Service, the National Park Service, but they also flow down to our state and local communities to help finance local parks. And I'm sure that whether it's the city of Hickory or other parks in Catawba County, some of them have made use of these federal funds that have passed down over the years. We also use a very large amount of private philanthropy and donated funds that help support our projects. And with that, I would really like to conclude my presentation. We are very fortunate at Foothills Conservancy to have a lot of great supporters in our region. We welcome any and all that are like the kind of work that we're doing. If you're interested to support and get involved with Foothills Conservancy, perhaps make a contribution and support our conservation work in the region. Here's our website, and you'll find an easy way that you can learn more about our projects or make a contribution if you like. And with that, I am glad to answer any questions, and I really appreciate this opportunity to be with you this afternoon and speak about Foothills Conservancy.
Well, thank you, Tom. If anyone has any questions, you can just speak up, or you can go to your chat feature at the bottom and type in your question.
Tom, one question I have is into what basket is the Riverbend property placed? We recently finally had the opportunity under COVID to get out of Dodge and go walk there. It was a wonderful afternoon. What is that entity? Where does that fit? Is it under your bailiwick or is it under someone else's?
Yeah, I didn't hear the name of the park or property you mentioned.
Riverbend.
Oh, Riverbend. That's one of your Catawba County parks. So Catawba County has 3 parks right now, I believe. Mountain Creek, that's under development near Lake Norman, Riverbend, and Baker's Mountain that I mentioned before. But I believe it's Jackie Eubanks and some of his staff that manage and operate those parks. And I've walked on some of those trails myself at Riverbend, and I know it may have been last year they actually expanded the size of the park and added another property to it. That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Bill Kopp here. The Wilderness Gateway Trail, I thought was very interesting in the fact that it combines the greenway plus a blueway, which means that you've got water for canoeing and kayaking, and then you also have trails for hiking. And I thought that was a nice combination of being able to meld both of those activities into one area.
I have a just a human interest question. Appreciate your presentation. Who were Henry and Jacob?
You know, that's an excellent question, and honestly, I'm not sure I know the correct answer, but I think it would go back to one of the earliest settlers of Catawba County. That's what I have heard from others. But I feel certain that they're probably related, Henry and Jacob. Maybe they were sons of one of the original settlers that were in the area, but that's all I can shed light on for that.
But I mean, I've always heard those names, Henry Fork and Jacob Fork, but they're 2 names, so they must have been people that had something to do with it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, if there's no more questions, Tom, presentation, we really appreciate it. Certainly, having the areas that you're talking about that the citizens can enjoy is certainly an important thing, and it really adds to the quality of our life. And I appreciate your hard work and your group's work in doing what you do to preserve those areas for our use and for our children's use. For next week, we will have the invocation by Jeff Mackey, and the next week's program will be presented by John Leach, and it's entitled The Cruise That Didn't Happen. I think many of you have enjoyed John's travelogues before on his cruises, and unfortunately on this one, the pandemic stepped in. But I'll be looking forward, and I'm sure you will be, to hearing everything John has to say. And with that, is there any other announcements that need to be made for the good of the club? Ingrid, it looks
President Lou,
yeah.
this is Bill. And
Uh-huh.
Jeff and I switched, so I'll be doing the invocation next Tuesday.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me know that. We'll be looking forward to that. Ingrid, if you're on, you had something that you were putting in chat. Did you have something you need to add?
No, I just posted the files so that you can click on those. Those are the letter from Ernie and the pamphlet about it. So I just posted it there to make it convenient. But I know Dave's going to resend it out an email. But you can also just click on the chat, those files. They're not spam.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And now, if each of you will join me for the four-way test, we'll conclude. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank all of you for joining us, and Tom, thanks again for your presentation. Hope everyone has a good rest of the week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.